Yeah, and just wrapping up on the 49ers, I think that front seven is going to be dominant, but the secondary is really impressing me for the 49ers, and I think it just has room to grow. I think it's just going to get better with a lot of young players in that back end. So something to keep an eye on. We'll see. They got Minnesota next. Sam Darnold. Let's just move on to Sam Darnold at this point
Yeah.
because Sam Darnold looked like the MVP right now. Sam Darnold, I don't have his stat line from me, but played the bottom of the barrel New York Giants. Sam Darnold, 19 for 24, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Aaron Jones went for almost 100 and a touchdown. How are we feeling about Sammy D in Minnesota?
I mean, I think we see this kind of every couple of years where there is a guy like a Geno Smith. We've seen it a couple of years back where it takes a little bit of time, but you find a place that, hey, you know what? This could be my spot here. This could be my where I prove that it wasn't my fault. It was Adam Gase. It was the system I'm in. It was
It was the
me.
ghost.
Yeah, it was the ghost. And so, like, I think that Sam Darnold was a very viable candidate this year just because of the landing spot that he was in. He has two really good receivers. He has a really good run game. The offensive line is also pretty good. You have a defense that, hey, it's not the greatest. They're not world beaters, but realistically, you feel pretty good. And stepping into that, you just need someone. I mean, we've seen with Kirk Cousins, like, if you could even just be 3/4 of what Kirk Cousins was, you are going to do really well in that offense.
Yeah, he does kind of seem like Diet Kirk Cousins right now. The way he can just throw that deep ball and hit the talent that he has on the outside. I think he is going to have some like very real come down to earth games where he is seeing ghosts. He's not really hitting the long ball, and then he has to kind of try to hit things underneath. But we'll see if he can step up when he's really forced to sit in the pocket and dice up a defense next week versus the 49ers.
I mean, but that was always the knock on Sam Darnold coming out. He had a great arm. You felt really good about his dynamics and him throwing the ball, but realistically, he was never super accurate. He was always going to be a guy who throws a lot of picks. He did it in college. He did it when he came out in the NFL. There are going to be games where he has 3 or 2 picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's going to determine like how many of those can he have? How many of those bad pick games can he have and still be considered a starter in this league full time? I think. Do you think he has a shot in Minnesota to be the starter next year if he balls out?
No,
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 you think it's
100%
JJ?
no.
JJ off injury no matter what?
I think you have to. I think depending on how JJ comes along, I mean, maybe it is one of those injuries where it's going to linger a little bit, and you need a little bit more work. And Sam Darnold needs to start off the season, but you've made too big of an investment in it to not see what you got. I mean, not too many teams are going to be the San Francisco 49ers where you draft a guy super high and you never play him consistently to see what it is. I think we've only seen that once and they've lucked out. I don't know if you rolled the dice on Sam Darnold for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, let's talk about Daniel Jones right now because he's the guy more so than anyone else in the league getting bashed today. The Giants already came out, said he is the starter for week 2. So we'll start there. He went 22 for 42, 186 and 2 picks. The fan base is livid. They're calling him Danny Pennies. They're asking him to give the money back. They, especially this started in Hard Knocks. The GM was making it a big deal. You could tell he didn't want Saquon Barkley there. He didn't want to pay Saquon. He wanted his guys. And his plan was we're going to make Daniel Jones be the quarterback and he's going to carry our offense. And look where there's got nowhere in his track record has he proven that he should be the one to carry the offense. But yeah, here we are. I would be firing the GM by week 4.
I just don't know where you go as a Giants team because you've tied yourself to Daniel Jones. You're there. You're in it. And I don't know if you've seen this stat floating around, this insult stat. It is like he has thrown more pick sixes since signing his contract than he has touchdowns.
Yeah.
And that's just the Danny Dimes experience right now. As someone named Danny, I'm sorry for everybody. I just want to put that out there. I don't have that same energy as Danny Dimes, but I apologize. And you could tell that this is something that's going to be ugly quick because now the entire team has to answer for this. They're asking every single member of the team, how do you feel about Daniel Jones? How do you feel about his play? How do you feel about that? The one who's they're gonna have to coach a little bit is Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors hates Daniel Jones, and you could tell immediately he hates Daniel Jones. Remember before he got drafted, and they were on the live, and they're like, "Oh, where don't you want to go? Oh, didn't you say you didn't want to go to that place that doesn't have a quarterback?" And he was like, "Hey, calm down," and he like turned off the live. That place was the New York Giants. We know it was.
Yeah, well, like watching Hard Knocks too, the one reason they were kind of considering not drafting Neighbors was how is he going to handle not being with, they didn't say this on there, but how is he going to handle not getting the ball enough? How is he going to handle not winning games? And that was kind of code for like, how is he going to handle playing with a shitty quarterback like Daniel Jones? And I think we're seeing it. Like, he's a competitive guy, and that's what makes him great. But also, he's going to call out bullshit when he sees it. Like, how long are you going to be able to keep Malik Neighbors happy where Daniel Jones is literally the reason they're losing games right now? And then you look at the shit job that Joe Shane did in the offseason. Xavier McKinney, gone. He had a pick week 1. Saquon Barkley, looking like another MVP candidate over there with 3 touchdowns for the Eagles in the first game. And his plan was get a receiver and let Daniel Jones spin it. And Daniel Jones looks like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league right now.
It's bad. It's very bad. And I could see this being a very ugly season for them. And they are going to get a good coach fired because of it. I think if you're the franchise, you have to let go of the GM and the coach, and someone has to pick up, and you got to be like, okay, well, you know what? It's not the quarterback that we signed for all these millions of dollars. It's the regime that he's in. I know that if we get fresh blood in here, we're going to be fine. Because what are you going to do? You can't trade Daniel Jones. You already signed him in this big deal. No one wants him.
Yeah, you're stuck. You're stuck. And